Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in.
Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've waited for. Been searching in the dark, your sweat soaking through the floor, and buried in your bones there's an ache you can't ignore. Taking your breath, stealing your mind, and all that was real is left behind. Don't fight it. It's coming for you, running at ya. It's only this moment, don't care what comes after. Your fever dream, can't you see? It's getting closer. Just surrender, 'cause you feel the feeling taking over. It's fire, it's freedom, it's flooding open. It's a preacher in the pulpit and your blind devotion. There's something breaking up the brick of every wall. It's holding out all that you know. So tell me, do you want to go where it's covered in all the colored lights? Where the runaways are running the night? Impossible comes true. It's taken over you. Oh, this is Binging Bobby. I'm your host, John, and with me I have my co-host. Look at you, you magnificent, hideous beast. You're a freak even among freaks. Jay.
No, we just have to give a big round of applause for John, who I did this whole thing. This is, of course, the opening of The Greatest Showman, which will become relevant in a second. But I had this idea, and I was like, oh, I'm not going to make John read all of that out. I'm just going to do it in my normal, flat, monotone voice. And then John, nope, he was going to do it, and he added such pizzazz, and it was better than I ever could have imagined. So thank you so much, John. That was
I've been looking over this for the past couple hours trying to find some enjoyment.
So that's why you delayed the recording.
I mean, no. I mean, yes. No, not because of that, but
Okay.
yes, let's just say that's the canon reason. But anyway, this is a podcast about movie tie-ins for toy franchises. And this week we're continuing our deep dive into Monster High, talking about Monster High Escape from the Skull Shores.
Yeah. This was released April 13, 2012, written by Mike Monsanto and Steve Zissik. We've talked about them quite a bit before. Directed by Steve Ball. He's an animation director. He worked on some of the early Rainmaker / Mainframe productions, Beast Wars and Reboot. So again, someone we're seeing pretty consistently since this studio. Was it Snowball? Oh, now this is going to bother me.
Snowball?
No, Snowball was a different one. Nerdcore. Yes, this was the studio founded by people who left Mainframe, which Mainframe did all of the Barbie movies, so received a lot of credits in common for people here.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And once again, we have art direction by Andy Poon and soundtrack by Steven Argula.
Yeah. So, going into the story, I'm going to continue to have some fun here. Anyway, it's spring break, and the ghouls are going to visit Laguna's family at the Great Barrier Reef. Gil, Laguna's boyfriend, is scared to meet Laguna's parents. On the way over, the boat gets attacked by a kraken, and they end up getting rescued by a man named Bartleby Farnham and his assistant Kipling. Farnham promises to take them to the Barrier Reef, but instead takes them to the mysterious island of Skull Shores. On the island, Frankenstein is greeted with a royal welcome by the Tiki people, the inhabitants of the island. At night, Farnham tells everyone the story of the beast who lives on the island. He reveals that he's using Frankie as bait to capture the monster, seeing as how she bears a strong resemblance to a scientist who visited the island long ago and who the beast fell in love with. So the beast shows up, but Farnham is unable to capture it, and the beast carries Frankie off into the jungle. Farnham and the Tikis and her friends all chasing after them. But Frankie wakes up to find herself in a treehouse, and it turns out the beast is actually a monster named Adam, who grows big anytime people are afraid of him. He and Frankie connect, and she invites him to join her at Monster High. Meanwhile, Laguna and Gil try to come up with a plan to rescue Frankie, but Laguna is caught by Farnham and Gil runs off like a little coward. Frankie and Adam stumble on the other ghouls, but Farnham catches up with them as well. Abby is able to convince the Cheeky to turn on Farnham, but he pulls out a magnet and threatens to kill Frankie. Um, Adam reluctantly agrees to go along with Farnham. And as they are getting ready to board the boat, Gil shows up with a kraken and an army of dolphins who rescue everyone and throw Barnum far into the jungle. Everyone returns to Monster High, and Adam starts attending the school. Sometime after, Headmistress Bloodgood calls an assembly. Farnham shows up under the pretense of giving a speech about tolerance, but instead begins insulting the crowd and causing chaos. Thinking the crowd is afraid of him, Adam turns into the beast and carries Frankie up to the top of a tower. Farnham shows up to convince Adam to join his freak show. And finally, fed up with Farnham's abuses, Kipling throws Farnham into a tar pit. And orderlies show up for some reason and take Farnham away.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
what's with the orderlies? They show up as like,
Yeah.
like we gotta find some freak, but they show up to a monster high school.
Yeah, I assume they were showing up for Adam because Farnham called them, but that doesn't make sense because Farnham's whole plan was to like use Adam as part
But
of his
like
show.
they should go to the school and be like, oh, they're all freaks. So
Well, yeah, I think the first one they saw was Farnham, so that's who they went with. But
mm,
he ends up with his comeuppance. He gets tarred and feathered, which is kind of a dark thing to
sure.
happen to a character in one of these,
Yeah.
considering the historical connotations of that.
Pretty yeah, something.
Yeah. But anyway, as you could probably tell from the summary, this is King Kong.
King Kong with little, I think, small sprinkles of Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, there's definitely a bit of the Beauty and the Beast in there, which actually works pretty well with the King Kong narrative. Obviously,
Hmm.
they've simplified and sort of kidified the King Kong story to make it less of a tragedy and more of a sort of kind of romance.
Hmm.
Yeah, have you ever seen any of the King Kong versions?
I've seen one or two.
Okay.
I have, of course, seen the Godzilla versus King Kong, both of those versions. And I think I've seen the original King Kong or maybe the 70s remake. I'm not
Okay.
sure.
Yeah, I've only seen the Peter Jackson King Kong, the 3.5 hour, or maybe it's 4 hours. It's long.
I never watched it. The trailer spooked me as a kid, and so I just
Okay.
never got into it.
Yeah, it's I may have to give it a rewatch eventually, but I do remember it being very, very long.
Hmm. I mean, it's Peter Jackson, so.
Yeah, yeah, it's there's a lot of stuff on the boat. I don't remember all of it, but yeah, I mean it's a classic story, sort of a classic monster story.
Sure, yeah.
And that's actually kind of exactly what I've been hoping for from these Monster High movies. Like I think I brought up on our first episode when we had that little short segment that was sort of riffing off of the Frankenstein story. I
Right.
kind of wanted to see more of this. And I happen to think after watching this, Barbie started out adapting classic fairy tales. So I think it's kind of fun to see Monster High now adapting classic monster stories.
Yeah.
And I
No.
kind of hope they keep doing that going forward because I would love to see, like, it's tough. You have to do a lot of changing of things.
But
But
it'd be fun,
yeah,
though, to
yeah,
have these childrenized stories of monster,
yeah,
like
because you could do
like the
Dracula.
universal monster stories, just.
Yeah. Frankenstein is difficult to do because you already have Frankie. But if you were to reintroduce her, you could kind of do a Frankenstein.
Sure, something.
Yeah.
Maybe she gets a brother or something. Who knows?
I'm trying to think, what are the other sort of classic Phantom of the Opera? They could do Phantom of the Opera.
I mean, they have the.
They have operetta, yep.
Yeah, they do.
Who is Southern for some reason.
I see. I think it's the joke of like, oh, you'd expect Phantom the Opera. What's the opposite of operatic music? Country music. So
Yeah. That
it's.
must be.
I think that's the joke, but like, you don't get it.
No, yeah. I, but yeah, you could imagine, what is Monster High Phantom of the Opera? What does that look like? That could be fun.
Hmm.
So
Yes.
yeah, I hope we get more of this going forward because it was a lot of fun to just like, okay, here's the King Kong story, and for some reason, it didn't occur to me, even though the title is Escape from Skull Shores. It wasn't until they were on Farnham's boat and he was like, ah, now we can go and meet the creature, that I was like, wait a second, Skull Shores, that's mysterious or like suspiciously like Skull Island.
I didn't think of that, but
Okay.
I got the King Kong perspective once Frankie was kidnapped by a giant man thing
Okay.
who looked a lot like the Beast from Beauty and the Beast. Like his design
Yeah,
there
and
was
his
like,
name is even Adam.
is that the same name for the
Yep.
Beast?
Yep.
Okay, that makes sense.
I saw it was also potentially a reference to, or no, that wouldn't be. Is his name Adam?
It is
Yeah, his
Adam.
name is Adam. Then why was I was on um the Monster High wiki and it was like maybe it's a reference to Andy Serkis, who did the mocap for King Kong and Peter Jackson's King Kong. That's a different name, so I think
Adam
that's not
Circus?
what it
I don't
is.
know.
I'm gonna look this up to make sure I'm not slandering the. Oh no, here on the wiki, he's called Andy. What?
Um, I don't know. He's
Did
just
I
the
get it
Beast.
wrong?
Maybe it did.
Oh, now I need to figure this out.
Oh, Andy Beast.
It is
In just look
Andy.
at
Okay.
yeah, look at the credits. It's Andy Beast. Okay. Well,
Whoops.
um,
Well, that was my Beauty and the Beast lore, or
you
Freudian
know,
slipping its way in.
you really wanted to have it be Adam because it's connected to
Yeah.
Beauty and the Beast, but like I guess close enough. It's an A name with a and
Yeah. Yeah. So, Andy. So maybe he is named after Andy Serkis.
probably. I mean, Andy Serkis is the guy.
Yeah. He's
He's
good.
the he's the
What
man.
was he in
Well,
recently that I saw?
uh,
Or something coming up? He's
I
not in
mean,
the Planet of the Apes one coming up that
no.
just dropped the
I mean,
trailer.
no. I mean, he was in the Batman, and that's the last thing I saw him in. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, or to the side of ourselves. Um, I was kind of hoping that this film was more about Laguna's family. Like, oh, okay, we're
Yeah.
gonna go and do that. Although I did enjoy the whole King Kong stuff. Like, I was kind of shocked when we went back to Monster High, and it was like, wait, that's it? We're not gonna go and see the whole thing. We'll talk about this more about the characters, but I was like, oh, I wanted to see that scene or just that moment. Instead,
Yeah.
we're just
Yeah.
told about it, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess. I did find it very jarring that we went to Monster High, although I did find it enjoyable that Andy was getting used to modern society. But it did
Yeah.
really feel like a completely different storyline that just did come back
Which
at the end, but it was
yeah.
weird to watch.
Which is kind of the King Kong thing of, there's the whole Skull Island segment and then they get off the
I
island
got
and it's
that.
almost a different.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah. And I agree because it's odd that because they still have time on spring break.
Mm-hmm.
because they're on Skull Shores for like 2 days.
Well, maybe it took him a while on the boat to travel.
Maybe,
But
maybe.
what's even shocking is how Cleo and Frankie, their hair grew back in a couple days after cutting it.
Wigs. It's all wigs.
Wow.
Actually, for Frankie, that would make sense
I mean,
because she's just assembled from other body parts. So why wouldn't she just wear wigs?
I mean, it'd be cooler if it was just her hair, but still.
Yes, I get what you're saying there with some of the. Yeah, and it is odd that they're like, okay, back to Monster High, and we never get to see any resolution with Laguna. Like we get a little bit of resolution, but it feels like that's going to be a bigger deal than it ends up being.
Yeah, because like the whole beginning of the film is all about that,
Yeah.
and then it turns into Frankie's film,
Yep. As
which,
has happened a couple times.
yeah, boy Laguna.
Yeah,
What a shame.
and it was because they were getting somewhere interesting with Laguna, and
Hmm.
then they kind of moved away from it. Hopefully, she gets a different chance to shine.
I did like this direction for the film with the King Kong aspect.
Yeah.
I liked not being at the Monster High School so that we can
Yep.
explore more of the world. Because as soon as we went back, I was like, yeah, this world. Hmm, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're going to get some more films that are kind of moving away from Monster High. So there's a couple I'm thinking of off the top of my head that
Hmm.
I assume will take place less in Monster High than this one, but you never know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because there's not a whole lot that you can do inside the Monster High than just the repetitive nature of school.
yeah,
I mean, sure, they've tackled the whole love thing, but like, what's left? The drama of trying out for cheerleading practice, like,
well, next one is going to be like a sports type thing, I think.
oh yeah, sports. Yep, you gotta have one of those. That's for sure. Okay, well, hmm.
Yeah,
We'll see if that's any good. Those can be hit or miss.
yeah, yeah. I do want to see more classic monster adaptations, but also more Laguna.
Yeah,
They could
more.
do because they were kind of going for like a slightly Lovecraft vibe with some of the early stuff. Like they could do a Call of Cthulhu. Actually, maybe not Call of Cthulhu because that's tough to adapt. They could figure something out though.
Sure.
I guess
Yeah.
part of the problem with Lovecraft is most of his stories are, and then the characters went to a place and got saw something so terrifying that they became mad, and then went to an insane asylum and eventually died. But they could do like
Riveting.
Dunwich horror, although that's hard to do as a not a horror. They could figure something out. Maybe that's what we'll write our own Monster High script. That can be what we are
I
challenged
mean,
to ourselves.
after we finish the Barbie steampunk Barbie script,
Yep.
10 years down the line, it's like, all
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
we're gonna finish this finally. Mattel, take a look at this. They're
Yeah.
like,
When Mattel hires us to be story consultants,
oh no.
you did a podcast about it. Surely you know what to do.
Well, yeah. How about this? That's great. Let's change 90% of that. It's like, okay, cool. Do I still get the paycheck? No. Okay. Thanks anyway.
Oh yeah, I gave the story here a 3.5 out of 5. Again, the King Kong stuff really cool, and I'm glad that they're doing some.
Mhm.
I think this is the most we've seen one of these films, either Monster High or Barbie, directly reference another film that isn't like via fairy tale. Maybe I'm forgetting something, but anyway,
Maybe. I gave it a 3.3. I didn't think it was quite a 3.5. I felt like that would be if they had more time with the Laguna thing, but
Okay.
it's more than a 3. So 3.3. There
Yeah.
you go.
Yeah. Next up, we have the characters.
Mm,
And yeah, Frankie Stein ends up being the protagonist here. And she's kind of, I mean, she's kind of filling a Barbie role where she's a little bit stagnant as a character and the other characters change around her.
sure.
She's just kind of friendly and she's allowed to be more naive than Barbie is generally allowed to be. But yeah, her whole thing here is that she is able to connect with not Adam, Andy.
Andy.
All of my notes are going to be wrong here. But yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I don't know. I found there it's kind of a romance, and I thought it actually worked pretty well because you're taking the King Kong romance elements, which I don't think the original film had it, but they were in the '70s version and then the Peter Jackson version as well. And you're
mhm.
kind of you're taking it through a lens where it's a little less odd because it's now not a giant monster. Is he a gorilla?
I don't know what he is. Like he has weird horns. He looked like the
Oh no,
Beast.
no, King Kong.
Oh, he's a gorilla
Yeah.
ish.
So it's not a lady with a romance with a gorilla. It's now a Frankenstein's monster with a romance with a beast that becomes slightly less beastly,
I guess.
more kind of werewolfish, but
Yeah.
with the Hulk.
Even though we have werewolves.
Yes, who don't turn into wolves.
Hmm. No, they're already wolves. They're. I guess they're stronger in the
Yeah,
moonlight. Or you've seen most of the show, I guess. Tell me.
I've seen parts of the show. It seems to be like, yeah, they're just kind of always half wolf, and then they're. I mean, this one had it at the beginning. They're stronger in the moonlight.
Nice
So yeah, I don't really know what the lore there is, but
lore.
yeah,
Yeah, Frankie Stein. Yeah. She's sweet, I guess.
yeah. No, the romance is nicer than the romances sometimes are in these things.
Yeah, it's much better.
You buy their connection.
Sure. Like it's not an immediate romance for Frankie. It's like, oh, she's just being nice to
Yeah,
this guy.
yeah. It is definitely built up a lot better.
I mean, maybe we'll see more of it in later stuff.
I kind of wonder if Andy just isn't going to come back.
I hope he does.
I do
Like
too.
not just for the sake of it. I just it'd be better if you have a character show up every once in a while and be like, yes,
Yeah,
they're still around.
not they've disappeared entirely like the
They're not
other.
they're not one-off characters. They're
Yeah.
still there, you know.
Now speaking of someone who isn't a one-off character, Laguna Blue.
Laguna, yes. Hmm. I it's a shame that she she kind of got chipped for
Yeah,
the third act of the film. Like she had a lot going on. I was like, oh yay, they're doing something with these characters. That's
yeah.
interesting. And then it's like, oh, never mind. It's Frankie.
I do like seeing a bit more of her relationship with Gil. Um, it's kind of an odd relationship, and it feels very outside the purview of what a tween would be dealing with. Like they're doing like, oh, what's the name of the movie?
Hmm.
Is it? It's not Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, is it?
Um. Uh. That's a film. Yes. I don't. About the different race.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is Guess Who's Coming to Dinner.
Mm-hmm.
It's Sidney Poitier. I'm like, oh, it's the white girlfriend with her black boyfriend, but here it's the saltwater girlfriend with her freshwater boyfriend.
Mm.
It isn't quite that, but that's the dynamic they're going for. I'm like, here's the racial politics of this relationship. It's like, yeah, hopefully tweens aren't dealing too much with this.
I mean, sure.
Like it's not. It is well handled in the film. Just kind of surprises me that that's the direction they're going with the story.
I mean, because they do monsters, they can tackle things that have less of an impact than they
Yeah,
did 20 years ago. So it's
yeah,
like, hey, we can tell this story with our monsters.
yeah. And again, I think the film handles it well. I was just kind of surprised that it's like this is a movie for tweens. It's kind of odd to see that kind of to have it framed within the romance or concept or storyline conflict, whatever.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah, again, I think it was fine as well. I just thought it was. I happened to think while I was watching, like, hey, wait a second, this is. And that's kind of the thing with all of the romance plot lines of these. I'm like, are tweens really dealing with romance that much? I mean, apparently we
I
weren't when we
mean,
were that age, but at least I wasn't.
I feel like it's rising,
Yeah.
but I don't know.
Also, I know our generation is less, or it takes people longer to like get involved in relationships in that way than like our parents' generation.
It's weird,
Yeah,
but whatever.
yeah. So we also have Cleo, who she's back to being a bit more conceited after the last couple of movies. She was a little less
Hmm.
herself, a little bit too nice. Now she's back to kind of being the kind of the Raquel.
I kinda, yeah. She wants to be treated like royalty because
Yeah,
technically she is. Um, but besides that being her only reoccurring joke of the film, she's just kind of there.
yeah. I'm waiting for them to dig a little deeper into her character
Hmm.
because I would love to see them do like they did with, well, not they because it was completely different creative people, but like what was done with Raquel over in Barbie Life in the Dream House.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, the other ghouls here are mostly sidelined for this one.
Yeah. I mean, that's that tends to be the issue with like larger casts of characters.
Yeah,
Some characters don't have much to do because you're focusing so much on the others. It's hard to juggle so many characters, and so you just like, forget about them. Just they're there. Just
yeah.
show them on the
Claudine
screen.
and Draculaura have some. They get a little bit more focus early on, and they're kind of the ones who notice, hey, wait a second, these statues here look kind of like Frankie. And
Mm-hmm.
then later we get a little bit more of Abby and Gulia. And Abby specifically gets a few good moments, especially when she's in the pit and she freezes the tikis to get out. And she has an interesting relationship with Gulia where they play off of each other very well. Their energy plays off each other very well.
Yeah, I think that's just a great pairing to watch
Yeah.
because you have Gulia who doesn't speak very often and her speaking is grunts, and then you have the Abby who's just
No
the
nonsense.
no nonsense, crystal clear, straight to the point Abby,
Yeah.
and it's just like, yeah, I feel like I could watch a whole show of just those two.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's unfortunate that they're so sidelined here, even more than like Abby in the last one had so many good moments. Here she's kind of on the sidelines for most of the film.
I mean
She has a
that
couple moments, but
yeah, I mean that's pretty much how we see Abby most of the time. She has a couple good moments, but for the most part, you're not focused on her.
yeah.
We're waiting for
Hopefully
her
we get it.
film
Yeah.
if we get one. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping so. Looking at the schedule, I'm not seeing one, which is
Uh,
unfortunate. But Hopefully, there's one where she at least gets a little bit more to do.
Hopefully.
Her and Gulia both.
Yes.
Now we also have Gil here,
Hmm.
and
Gil.
he's set up to be the main arc of the movie, where it's like because he's scared of going to meet um, Laguna's parents,
Hmm.
and is also scared, deeply terrified of the ocean, which I agree with. Um, I have fun with it, but
Hmm.
he's like having a terrible time, and he has to kind of overcome both his fear and a bit of his prejudice. I do like this thing where even though he himself is not as prejudiced, he's kind of inherited a bit of his parents' prejudice. Um,
Sure.
and that sort of, even though he is dating someone from the sea, he still has a few things to learn. Um, and I think that's a very healthy approach to that subject of sort of prejudice. Being like,
Yeah.
hey, this person has stuff to learn, but is also actively trying to, and his arc is all about that.
And like we mentioned earlier, um, the conclusion to his arc is witnessed off screen, where
Yeah,
he confronts Laguna's parents and all that. And I'm like, oh, they really just send a few dolphins and the Kraken. We didn't see uh, fish people army coming to get the daughter that was apparently in trouble or kidnapped or whatever. It's like, oh,
yeah,
I get that Kraken's a big deal, but like you think that parents would also get involved in some way. It's like, oh no, our child's been kidnapped. Okay, well
yeah.
leave it to the big octopus thing.
I chalk it up to animation budget.
I
Parents were like,
figured that
we would
too.
really like to go and help you, but it's not in the budget, unfortunately.
We can't create two whole character models for this film. We
Yeah,
can't create a whole new location for this film. We spent so much on the Tiki Island and all the little
yeah,
tikis.
yeah. And you think about it, because if they had, then they could have like finished their spring break with Laguna's parents before going back to Monster High, rather than okay, we're safe, time to immediately turn around and go back to Monster High.
Oh, we get another week of spring break. Okay, instead of going back to Laguna's parents, we just go back to the island with the tikis.
Parents are like, nope, not in the budget. Sorry.
No,
We love to see you, Laguna, but you can't see us because budget. We can't be animated.
not yet, or if ever. I don't know.
Yeah, there is a later one which is after one of the redesigns that is the Great Scarier Reef. So I
Ooh,
assume that one's going to be set at Laguna's home.
probably the big fish episode. Um,
But yeah, back to Gil. His whole arc kind of gets undercut by this King Kong storyline.
mm-hmm.
And honestly, it would have been kind of neat to see the two tied together a bit more, because they're both about prejudice and fear from opposite angles. Because you have Andy sort of having to deal with this fear and this prejudice that others have towards him, and then Gil from the other side, he's the one who has this prejudice and this fear. So it would be, maybe if they had more runtime, they could have showed those two sort of parallel arcs and kind of
Mm-hmm.
done something with that. Whereas
Yeah,
here, oh, go ahead.
yeah, because then you also have Kipling, who has uh, another part of this.
Yeah, and he's better integrated into Andy's storyline
Mm-hmm.
because he actually interacts with Andy.
And so you have three somewhat similar ideas, but told in different ways.
Yeah, yeah, and Gil definitely gets the short end of that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, speaking of, we can jump down to Andy here.
Andy.
He's just a great character. A good mix of King Kong and the Beast, and kind of I don't know, there must be a specific name for this type of character, but I was calling it the reluctant werewolf type of character. Someone who's like, Oh, I'm gonna transform. You better get out of the way.
That's just a werewolf in general.
Well, depends on the werewolf. Some werewolves are
The
less
Hulk.
reluctant. Yeah, some werewolves are the Hulk. I
Something.
get what you're saying. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I find that kind of thing interesting, and how the solution here is not you must never turn into the beast ever again, but more of like, hey, you're safe here. You could be who you are. Like maybe don't rip a hole in the auditorium, but be yourself. Doesn't
Yeah,
Frankie specifically say like let your freak flag fly at one point?
something like that. But him being big isn't really him being himself. That's the result of his fear
Yeah, yeah.
and anger. Well, that and plus negativity from others affecting his feelings. I think he's like an empath character.
Okay. That would make sense. That is kind of internalizing what others are thinking. And that is sort of how it can work for people who find themselves at the margins of society, that it's like you internalize a lot of that and think of,
Hmm.
oh, can't turn into the beast because that's bad. It ends up making things worse.
It's no good for property damage, the value of the house, doesn't rise with that property damage, But with
Although that
renovation,
treehouse is nice.
it's something.
It's a ship in a tree.
Mm.
I also really like how Andy is introduced because it's kind of a subversion of expectations. Because you're expecting, the King Kong thing. So when
Right.
he turns into a human, you're like, oh wait, or not a human.
To
Uh,
the smaller guy,
yeah, yeah,
the smaller buff guy, he's like, "Oh, is this like a Beauty and the Beast situation?"
yeah. Which it kind of is. Yeah, I don't know. I found him very interesting. I mean, honestly, in a similar way that I find the Beast or the reluctant werewolf type character very interesting.
Yeah. But he's just a sweet soul.
Yeah,
Like he doesn't want to be angry, but
I did have a question about his age, which I think that's a thing we're not supposed to think too much about with these Monster High movies.
yeah, I
The
mean,
the way he's depicted as like constantly shirtless, I was like, what is this guy's age?
he's old enough that the lady is no longer around.
Yeah,
Um he's old enough that he hasn't experienced the modern world of cell phones and
yes,
such. I mean,
which
like
is one of
Draculaura
those
is
1600 years old.
so like age. It don't matter. It don't matter in this world.
And
I
Romulus
guess.
was at least like 45, and he
Like
was a high school
Frankie,
student.
she was 16 days at the start of the show. So like, who? I mean,
I think she has been 16 days this entire time,
I
which
guess
implies that this entire thing is happening over the course of one day. But yeah, yeah, I don't know.
it's. Let's not think about
Yeah,
that
no,
because
let's
it's hard to
avoid
talk
that
about
question.
morality in this situation. Um, Speaking of morality, you have Farnham.
Yes, who is inspired by P.T. Barnum, the con artist and shady carnival owner that was the quote unquote inspiration for The Greatest Showman. Now, I think I put that quote unquote there very intentionally because the P.T. Barnum of The Greatest Showman bears no resemblance to the actual guy. The Greatest Showman, he's this like champion of equal rights and he's great guy all around, whereas the real P.T. Barnum was just a shady character in general and
Well,
abusive and
that's musical theater for you.
yep. Yeah, musical theater. Ooh, a guy who did carnivals. He must be great. Whereas this is actually a much better interpretation of P.T. Barnum than The Greatest Showman, which I wasn't necessarily expecting going in. But yeah, no, he's definitely a villain.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And that is why I had you read out the opening number from The Greatest Showman.
I've never seen the film, so
Yeah,
I couldn't perfect the line like good old Hugh Jackman.
honestly, because if I had done it, I would have put the pauses in where there are pauses in the song
Oh, it's a
between
song.
lines.
Okay.
So yeah. So I think you did a much better interpretation than I would. Well, and you're also just better at reading things out like that than I am. But
I mean, I just tend to have more fun reading things out loud.
yeah,
You
and
know,
you put personality into it.
I do. Like you remember in classes when they ask you to read out loud, I'd
Yeah,
start with reading normally, and then I always end up being Southern or Scottish or whatever.
and the
Like I
woman
can't.
walked up to the whale.
So there was a whale, and the woman walked up to the whale. Um, but anyway, yes, Farnham, the villain, he's he does stuff. He showed up at the end. He's a guy.
He doesn't have much depth to him, but I think it works for what the film is doing.
Right, yeah.
Because you need that character who's just kind of evil.
I don't get what he's after.
Yeah, that's a bit ambiguous of what. So I think he has some kind of a freak show that he runs that somehow involves Kipling, and I
I,
think he picks up the monsters being like, oh, I can add them to my freak show. But then he sees Frankie and is like, wait a second, I can use her to catch the bigger monster. So I think that's what his motivation is.
the beginning of him is like, oh no, we're out of Griffin tongues for our trade route,
Yeah,
and I
because he's
thought,
also like what's a huckster, where he's selling.
and so my thought process was like, oh, he's a seller of monster goods, and so he sees the monsters. It's like, Andy, he's a very rare monster that is a high price. And then I think his motivation just changes as the film goes on, and we forget that he's a trade route guy, and he turns more. And I
I,
have
I
no
I
idea
think he starts out. I think it's both. I think he is a trader, but he also runs this freak show, and so he
what
wants
free
Andy
show.
for his freak show. Well,
I
yeah,
haven't.
that's the problem is we don't see it, but that's why he has Kipling with him.
I don't know
Yeah,
something.
it's not well established, and part of that is just that's what the actual P.T. Barnum he had his freak show. So I think that's
Hmm.
what they're going for.
Hmm.
But yeah, they probably could have handled his motivation a little bit better.
Yeah.
Now we also have Kipling, who has a pretty good arc here. I think he's sort of the
Yeah.
counterpart to Andy in sort of learning to, hey, I don't need to live with the fear that has been imposed upon me by others.
I think he's a resemblance of the Elephant Man.
Yeah, that's what they're going for, though less um, extreme.
Hmm.
They've kind of toned down. Um, and his name must be a reference to Rudyard Kipling, the author,
Okay.
who I think
Well,
wrote, because I think that's a common elephant name, because I think he wrote a classic book about an elephant.
well, elephants.
Yep.
Anyway, I gave the characters a 3.3, same as the story.
Yeah, I gave them a 3.5. I think Adam, not Adam, Andy,
Andy.
bringing up the story. Yeah, like Toy Story, Andy.
Andy.
So yeah, next up we have the visuals. The animation here, the cinematography is a little bit less dynamic. It still has its moments, but I actually kind of appreciated how it was a little bit more tamped down.
Mm-hmm.
we didn't have quite the same crazy racy movie movement from the last one.
Yeah,
I think it is kind of missing some of the creativity of the last one though, so it's a bit of a trade off here.
probably. I mean, the more creativity they had was probably during the whole Monster High sections, but then
Yeah,
they switched up.
which maybe that's just the visual language they're using for the Monster High segments, but yeah,
Maybe.
yeah. The in terms of like the design and the quality, I think the animation still leaves a little bit to be desired. Still has some
Yeah.
very murky colors.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think it worked sometimes, especially for any time they were on boats. So there's this very specific aesthetic of art that I can't find a term for, but like the boat, the like yacht that they start out on is like the perfect encapsulation of it, where it's like the you have the sickly green gray sky, and then the water is kind of green dark bluish, and then you have like the art deco-y type boat with like ornamentations all over it. And I don't know, it's hard to describe, but I love it so much. And it pops up very infrequently, and when it popped up here, then you have like the bright orange tentacle popping onto the water, like all of that I just loved.
I was distracted by something else, which I'll talk about later,
Okay.
but I didn't catch all of that.
And then the Farnham's boat is just so cool. Like
It's
the
spooky.
design of it is so
Yeah.
cool, and I loved it. And like when they go to Skull Shores and there's like the giant skull rock, that was cool. But yeah, a lot of it just does look pretty muddy, especially on the island. The greens on the island are too gray. It never feels lush and vibrant. It kind of feels sickly.
Maybe that could just be a a theme of the world or the island. It's like it's sickly because we have Farnham and like they're afraid of the monster, so they can't be all happy. Um, but I don't know if there was anything at the end that changed that, but that would have been my take on that. But
Yeah.
I have no idea. That's probably just how they looked,
Yeah, I think it's the aesthetic that they're going for, which
probably.
works for a lot of things and doesn't work for a lot of other things.
Hmm. Yes, and so the thing that I was distracted by during all of these things was that we got some new looks and new costumes and new designs for our characters only while they're on this spring break adventure.
Yes.
When they went back to school, they went back to their classic designs. But like, boy, did that take me out of the film. I was like, whoa, what? Frankie's hair is so short, and like, I just thought the hair choice was weird. Like
Yeah.
it's a nice haircut and all, but I was like, that kind of looks more like what was the cat girl? Toldine,
Tawny?
Tawny. Yeah, she has a similar haircut.
Yeah.
Uh, Also Cleo has almost the exact same haircut. It's like she has bangs, and
Yeah.
so it's like, why? Why do you have two characters with very similar haircuts? Um, they predominantly usually have large hair cut very
Yeah.
short. It's like pretty jarring. I actually think Abby looks pretty good. Like she
Yeah.
looks the most natural. Here's a good costume for her. It's
Her
just like
hat is
her.
just so good.
Yeah, it just matches her pretty well. Claudine with the purple, like what? There was just a lot of color choices that I have no idea what they were going with that, but
Yeah.
I get it. Dolls, you gotta change the look sometimes. I don't know if this is it, but it's different.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I thought Gil's new design looked pretty good as well. Though, did you notice he wasn't wearing his helmet in one of the scenes?
That was after he came back.
Yes. but then he puts it on again when he's back at Monster High.
Well, that's just them reverting back to the character model. So, yeah.
I thought it was odd that they never quite explained it because I don't understand. I thought he was wearing it because he needed it to breathe.
Yeah, and then I think they took it off to show us, like, hey, look at him. He's not afraid anymore. He probably kept himself in a bubble because he's afraid of everything else. It's like, oh no.
Yeah, but then it's just weird to put him back in it for the rest of the movie. I couldn't figure out what was going on with that. But yeah,
No,
I
budget.
gave the probably I gave the visuals a 3.5 out of 5. Again, so some things that could be improved, but I love certain aesthetics here.
I'm continuing with the 3.
Okay. So next up we have the performances. We have just a lot of the same returning people. I don't have a ton to say about any of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Evan Smith is giving a kind of odd performance as Gil. I can't quite decide what I think of it. He has an odd accent that he chooses.
Yeah, it's something. I didn't quite get it.
Yeah. Again, it wasn't it didn't ruin anything for me. It was just it stood out a little bit.
Hmm.
And then I thought Keith Silverstein was fun as Farnham.
Yeah. I also just really enjoyed listening to the Tiki dialogue. I was like, what are they saying? A lot of it's just Tiki bum. I was like,
Okay.
Tiki bum? Like, that's a weird thing to say, Tiki bum.
Yeah, I don't know.
Most of their sentences are Tiki something.
Yeah, I honestly wasn't paying enough attention to what they were saying since it was kind of
Kind of what?
well, yeah. It didn't. My brain kind of filtered it out because it's like, oh, I'm not supposed to understand what they're saying. So
Oh, they're just side characters. Those
yeah,
are like those NPCs on
yeah,
video
yeah,
games. It reminded me of Crash Bandicoot, the Tiki thing. Anyway,
yeah.
yeah. Performances, I give the usual 3.5. It was solid.
Yep.
Just, you know.
I also gave it a 3.5.
Hmm.
So yeah, last up we have the sound. I didn't really notice anything with the sound this time around. The soundtrack wasn't particularly notable in any
The
way.
only thing of note is when they were on the yacht with Abby and Gil. Sorry, Laguna and Gil.
Yeah.
There was the Titanic ripoff music that they were
Oh,
playing.
I missed
Um,
that.
yeah, no, it was just like synthetic music, like with their normal music. You know that Titanic has some weird synthetic music
Yeah.
in it. It was like they had that during those moments. I was like,
Oh,
oh, Titanic, interesting, weird. But that was it. That's the only thing I noticed for that.
yeah. I gave the sound a 3 out of 5.
So did I. It's not spectacular, but it's there. It's something.
Yep. And that leaves me with a 17 out of 25, which is a 68% or a 3.4 on our 5-star scale.
And I have a 16.1, which is a 64% or a 3.22 5-star rating.
Yeah. I
This
forgot to put
was.
these in our rankings here, but
Yeah,
um,
it's
looks
a
like this
thing.
is your highest rated of these Monster High films so far.
Cool.
It's my second highest. So yeah, we're definitely seeing better than we started,
Yeah,
which is
we're
nice.
getting improvements. The stories are starting to be more stories and more
Yep.
inspired by monster stuff.
Yeah, I think the longer run times, the progressively longer run times are helping.
Mm. It is your classic spring break adventure. I guess not so classic, but using the
It's King
concept.
Kong. Yeah.
Sure, it's yeah, but anyways, thank you everyone for listening. Make sure to follow us on social media. We're Binging Barbie Podcast on Instagram and Tumblr, Binging Barbie on Twitter and Serialize, and Binging Barbie, a Barbie movie podcast on Letterboxd. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a 5-star review. And we will be back next week with an episode on Monster High Friday Night Fights. And until then, don't get on creepy boats with shady carnival owners. I'm talking to you, Jay.
I will do my best. Bye, Barbie.
Bye, Barbie.